This video contains content discussing violence, death, and murder. Viewer discretion advised.
The Dugway sheep incident, which occurred in 1968, refers to an incident involving the accidental release of Miller's gas agent VX at the U.S. Army's Dugway proving ground in Utah. This incident had severe consequences for the local wildlife, particularly a nearby flock of sheep. Here's a brief analysis of the Dugway sheep incident. The Dugway Proving Ground is a U.S. Army facility used for testing and evaluating chemical and biological weapons. In March 1968, the facility was conducting a series of tests involving agent VX Norwegian. VX is a highly toxic chemical compound that interferes with the transmission of nerve impulses, leading to paralysis and then fatality. On March 18, 1963, a testing involving the release of the X-nerve agent went awry. Instead of dispersing as intended, the nerve agent drifted outside the designated test area due to the unexpected weather conditions. This resulted, in the release of significant amounts of VX into the surrounding environment. The toxic cloud of VX settled over a nearby Skull Valley, where several herds of sheep were grazing. Over the next few days, thousands of sheep began to fall ill and die. The symptoms exhibited by the sheep were consistent with this nerve agent, including convulsion and respiratory failure. The incident raised concerns about the potential effects of chemical weapons on both the environment and livestock. The U.S. government initially downplayed the incident, but the scale of the sheep deaths became apparent. They had to acknowledge the severity of the situation. The Army conducted several investigations, and it was determined that the release of VX was due to a combination of factors, including weather conditions and equipment failure. The Dugway sheep incident sparked public outcry and raised questions about the safety of chemical weapons testing. Environmentalists, as well as the general public, expressed concern about the potential impact of such incidents on human health and the environment. The incident contributed to a broader anti-chemical, anti-war sentiment during this time period of history. As a result of this incident, there were changes in regulations and procedures for handling and testing of chemical weapons. The government implemented stricter safety measures and increased oversight to prevent similar accidents in the future. The Dugway sheep incident remains a notable event in the history of chemical weapon testing. It highlighted the potential dangers of such activities and contributed to the increased scrutiny and regulation of military testing programs. The incident also served as a catalyst for discussions about the ethical and environmental implications of using and testing chemical weapons. In summary, the Dugway sheep incident underscored the risks associated with the testing of chemical weapons and prompted changes in policy and procedures to prevent similar accidents in the future. It has also played a role in shaping public opinion on the use of chemical weapons and their potential impact on the environment and living organisms. The Dugway sheep incident was not a criminal act. There were no suspects in the sense of intentional wrongdoing. Instead, it was an accidental release of the ex-parole agent during a military task at the Dugway Proving Ground in Utah. The incident was attributed to a combination of factors, including unexpected weather conditions and equipment failure. The U.S. Army conducted investigations into the incident, and the responsibility for the accidental release was determined to be related to technical and procedural failures rather than intentional actions by individuals. As a result, there was no specific suspect, and the focus was addressing the systematic issues that led to the accidental release of the married agent. It's important to note that the incident prompted changes in safety measures, regulations, and oversight to prevent similar accidents in the future. The legacy of the Dugway sheep incident is more about the lessons learned and the improvements made in the handling of chemical weapons testing rather than the identification of suspects. The specific details of individual investigators involved in the Dugway sheep incident of 1968 are not readily available in public records, and the incident itself was investigated internally by the U.S. Army. The U.S. Army conducted multiple investigations to determine the causes and circumstances surrounding the accidental release of the married agent, the X. The investigation likely involved a combination of military personnel, scientists, and experts in chemical and biological welfare. The findings and reports generated from these investigations would have been used to understand the factors that contributed to the incident and the implementation of corrective measures. It's important to note that details about the investigators involved in the internal military investigations are not often publicly disclosed, especially when they relate to sensitive military operations or incidents. The emphasis is typically on the findings and recommendations rather than the individual investigators. If you are conducting research or seeking specific information about the investigators involved, you may want to explore historical military records and government documents or declassified military materials related to the Dugway sheep incident. Keep in mind that some details may still be classified or not publicly available due to the nature of military operations and the security concerns that the military